All right. Hey, welcome to another show, another edition of Cory Meets Business podcast and YouTube channel. Today, we've got a very special guest, a young entrepreneur. He's in the shoe game, which I really like. It's close to my heart because I love shoes. I got all kinds of kicks, so he's speaking my language. I've been rocking the Jordans since Jordan was actually playing basketball. So, I go all the way back.
Okay, before my time.
That's right. That's right. So his name's Abdul, and he owns Phoenix Quick Care. He has a kiosk up in a mall in Phoenix, Arizona, and he does shoe cleaning. Got some really cool stuff called Quick Care, shine leather cream. And the pictures I've seen on his Instagram are amazing. It really cleans up the shoes, makes some old shoes look brand new. So we all like that, because when they start looking old, then you're like, man, I got to buy some new shoes, but you get some of this stuff and you might as well be brand new, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, cool. So we're now on now. So thanks you so much, Abdul, for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I love talking to young entrepreneurs and helping out, especially with sales and marketing and the growth of their Instagrams and their social media. So that's what we're going to talk to him about just, how to continue to expand his brand and how to continue to take advantage of growth on Instagram, and then what that means for sales and things like that, and how we can actually kind of drive some sales. So, hey, thanks for coming on. In the pre-show, we talked a little bit about it, and I kind of just want to jump in with this. I'm going to start asking you some questions. You have now you've expanded back and forth. You've had some more kiosks and some other stores, and he's had some employee problem, which we all have. I mean, I have nearly 50 employees. I got to tell you, man, I pull my hair out most of the time dealing with my employees. So you are not alone. All of us businesses struggle with employees and management, and how do you motivate your employees, and so I understand that difficulty. So the first question I have for you is, now it's you. What are your hours of operations? How many hours a week do you put in? Do you have anybody manning the kiosk with you, or is it just you right now? Tell us a little bit more about your operation exactly.
So I work every day from 11 to 7. So it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot more manageable too. I mean, and I wouldn't say that that's how America should run. But I will say, 9 to 5 is a really, it's kind of a harder thing to do. So I don't know, 11 to 7, I feel like is more manageable, and it's been great. But I actually, like I said, I do all the hours myself. I don't do it with anyone else. So it does get challenging at times, and, no days off is kind of.
So you're going 7 days a week then with that.
7 days a week.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's, again, that's, you get it, right? So yeah, 7 days a week. So yeah, it's 8 hours, but it's 7 days a week, that's just when you're there, right? So we got 8 hours times 7. So you're doing 56 hours where you're actively working, but of course you're working on the brand. Besides that, it's not like that's just when you start and stop work. You're working on the brand. You've got to get product in, you've got to manage product, you've got to do a lot of prep work and stuff like that. So one of the things that he and I was talking about was that a lot of people don't understand like what goes into running a business. It sounds real good and it sounds real romantic and it sounds real cool to run a business, but you have to kind of realize what's going on in the background. So for young entrepreneurs or people thinking about it, here's the man to tell you what it's really like, right? So again, he's going 7 days a week. He's 56 hours at the kiosk, but how many more hours besides just that do you put into the business, as far as like, again, dealing with product and other business issues, counting, finance, all the other things that go into running the business? How much more time would you say you put in?
I mean, I'm over here trying to calculate. Honestly, I guess if you want to say weekly, I guess another 2-3 hours a day. So, I mean, times that by 7, you're getting 14, hours, depending on the week, depending on, obviously we're getting into tax season. So now,
right,
we're even deeper into everything. So, I mean, it's running a business is not easy, and the biggest thing most people don't understand is taxes. We're entering a different tax bracket. So
right,
you no longer receive a refund.
No. You are one of the payers. You're not one of the receivers.
You are the payer. Yeah.
Right.
You are giving people their refunds. So yeah, you
and people get
understand.
mad at me because they're like, well, why are you, why aren't you on the train for like the free money and the stimulus and that? I said, because some of us actually have to pay that money, and then not all of us just get the money. Some of us has to pay the money. So
we got to pay for you. Yeah, like and people don't understand that, like especially when it comes time for taxes and stuff like that. And I low key kind of stress about it, but I shouldn't. I have to, I've worried about it all year. But I stress about it, and people worry like, "Oh, aren't you getting a refund this year?" And I laugh at them. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 28, but I haven't gotten a refund in 10 years, 6 years."
Yeah, once you make the leap to working for yourself and being an entrepreneur, yeah, that's the end of the refunds. It's all
you start understanding kind of how America works and how taxes work and the Federal Reserves work and how our money works and stuff like that. And you want to know more about it because you're like, hold on, I'm putting money into the economy. Oh, let me figure out what's going on.
Yeah, there you go. Right. It makes you actually pay attention to like what the hell they're doing in Washington, D.C. instead of just like, being oblivious to it. When you start sending the check that way, then you start saying, okay, I'm sending this much money to Washington, D.C. What the hell are they going to do with it? And you start taking a different interest in how it all works when you start sending money there. And you want to know what they're going to do with your money. And when you start seeing that we're sending it over to foreign governments and we're financing gender studies in Pakistan, right? And we got a young, man like this that's working 80 hours a week at his kiosk, and he's got to send his money to Washington, D.C., and they're going to send it to Pakistan. That's bullshit. That's what that is.
And that's kind of like the first thing, but then you also have to worry about, that's the global, that's the international, the big picture. But right. Then I because I'm doing retail, I have to worry about the small picture too, as far as the state, because I collect sales tax.
Right.
So for every obviously for every $10 I'm making, I have 9.1. I take the 9.1 and I have to give that to the state. I'm collecting sales tax for the state, essentially.
So you're basically, being in a retail situation like you're basically a tax collector for the state. So it is for free, and you're doing it for free, right?
You understand that, yeah?
Yeah. So you're seeing the picture here. You're seeing the story. So, this young man is working his ass off 80 hours a week. And in addition to having to deal with his customers and, obviously his product and, do a good job there and keep customers happy, he's a free tax collector for the state, and they give him nothing for it. So I love that you're bringing this up because obviously in the moment in time that we're in right now with, all the hyper politicization and everything going on, this is a big topic, right? This is a big topic, taxes. And like you said, we're coming to tax season. It's on your mind even more than ever. And we start looking at some of the things that, why do business owners care about taxes? Why are business owners worried about the price of gas and the price of oil? Why do we worry about the cost of shipping and things like that? And he also knows too, like on that sales tax, if the sales tax goes up, well, then his customer is going to get charged more. Now they don't perceive the sales tax. What they perceive is how much did it cost me to buy this particular shoe cleaner. And so if taxes go up, that's just a cost increase to him that he now has to pass on to the customer. And he's got to do that all for zero gain of his own. Right. So yeah, it definitely is. It's a great lesson. And young entrepreneurs, again, pay attention to this. Now, as an entrepreneur myself, I don't mind paying taxes, but I want to make sure the money is being used for something that is one, responsible, and two, is really going to actually help some people and not just give a bunch of money to a bunch of super rich people that don't need my money, right? So this is some of the concerns of a business owner. So when some of us look on Instagram or we look on Facebook, look on social media, and we hear conversations going back and forth about, oh, you guys should just be cool paying more. You're looking at a young man who dollars matter, so it's not the super rich that gets taxed more. It's people exactly like Abdul that gets taxed more. He's the one that's working the 80 hours at a kiosk in a mall. He's got to pay the extra taxes. So when we have all this crazy spending going on in Washington, D.C., it's business owners like him that are gonna actually have to pay that. It isn't going to be Jeff Bezos. It isn't going to be Bill Gates. Those people don't pay any taxes. They don't pay. So I like that. Again, it just lets people know that the complexity of business, it's beyond just selling your goods and services. Again, there's the taxation, there's the worry about it, the stress about it. There's the bookkeeping that goes into it, the record keeping, the expenses, right? The reporting, the QuickBooks, your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, all these things are extra work that a business owner has to do that has absolutely nothing to do with making money, right? So he, for 2 or 3 hours a day, in addition to when he's at the shop, at the store, that's like he's working for free in those hours, but it's required as part of the business, right? So it's one of the prices you have to pay. So so the bottom line is it's complex. It's not as easy as some people think it is. And so I think kind of the message here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Abdul, is like when people look at your business, when they look at some other's business, especially on a retail level, I mean, when I get to coach some retail people, I always kind of take it a little more to heart, because I know the battle. I know how difficult it is on a retail basis to make money, and you're waiting for people to come in that location, and you have all kinds of other factors there that had nothing to do with you, that will go into your ability to make money, in addition to being the free tax collector and all that stuff. So a lot of complexity to it. So when you go into businesses, keep in mind, whether you have a business or whether you go into somebody else's business, keep in mind what they have to go through. Maybe a little bit more appreciative of exactly the fact that someone can be there offering you that good or service. It's a lot more complicated and difficult than just the way that he makes it look. And I'm sure, if I go to your kiosk, you'd probably make it look like it was easy peasy, freaking make it look like it's so easy, but it's clearly not. And you can see the work that goes into it. So I like that. I like that end of it. So 80 hours a week, you got your kiosk going. I know it's probably really good. So 11 to 7. I mean, that hour means probably when the mall's the busiest. So that's when you're gonna make your best run anyway. So I'm sure that's calculated. You're just not showing up at 11 to 7 for no reason. It's probably that's the busy time of the mall, right? When you got to have your the best traffic to grab customers. So next question. When you're selling, right? What's your approach? So if someone's going to walk by your kiosk, how do you introduce yourself? What would you say to somebody that was coming by?
So personally, I have I've been doing this for about 10 years. And before, I used to kind of travel. I was a traveling salesman. And What I would do is I would kind of lift up whoever's business I could. So that's when I kind of realized that, okay, I can do this on my own. But what I really did, I designed my own pitch that's from top to bottom, what to say, how to say it, what to do, and everything. So anyone I bring on they know what to do, they know what to say. So I kind of I do the same thing every time, really. Like I'm a robot, really. But at the same time, it's kind of a different approach to a different person. I use like the surprise factor. I use psychology. Really, nice. Like I kind of just confuse people, really. Like I'll ask them, are those the Nikes? I really do. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I really do. So because people are oblivious. They go through their life and they kind of think they're the most important thing in the whole world. They wake up in the morning and put on something and they think everyone sees that, Right. So I kind of just hone in on that. I'm sure if anything, if I saw you, I'd be like, hey, my guy with the Maximize shirt. And then I'm sure you'd be interested because you'd be like, oh, you know about Maximize? And
I'd try to maximize. Let's maximize those shoes, right?
It's kind of just the thing you have on that's most important to me. I kind of hone in on that, and then I'll just bring that back to I always bring it back to the shoes. So
nice. So then your intro then is basically your we call it an intention grabbing statement, right? So
it's exactly it's an open-ended question, correct? Right. It'd be open-ended question.
So you pick something that they're wearing, and some
hat, shoes, with a cool watch, and then I'll bring from that. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you do like my watch?" And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, aren't those the Nikes? Watch, come here, pop your foot up." And then I show up, and most people kind of, once you tell them to do something, there's not too many people who kind of move by their own will. Like most people they do what their wife tells them to do. or they do what their girlfriend tells them to do, or, you know, they kind of just, they don't make decisions on their own, you know. And even sometimes you get people on the stand where they don't make decisions on their own. They'll, should I get this? You know, you know, and you're like, yes, you should. You know, my one favorite thing is shaking your head a lot. If you shake your head enough, right? People get it in their head. Oh, I should. Yeah, he's saying yes. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Why not?
Right. Nice.
So
you're doing sales. You know, obviously you've got the you've got the whole repertoire available to you, which is really cool about doing face-to-face sales, right? Versus telephone sales or just selling, you know, on the internet. He has that body language he's able to tap into. He's able to kind of, you know, move people a little bit with just like, you know, again, the head nodding and the, you know, looking at the, you know, if they're with the boyfriend and girlfriend, you know, he's looked at the girlfriend and, you know, do you like him to have nice shoes? And she says, yes, I do. And that puts pressure on him to you know, want to take care of his shoes. So you get to use all those different cues, which is really cool because most of the selling that I do is either on the telephone or, you know, on Zoom calls like this. I love when I get to fly out and I get to, you know, meet people face to face and do more face-to-face selling, because I like that extra dynamic of being able to use that body language and be able to, like, you know, lean in and shake hands and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. All right, so then you pull them in and then you got them talking about the shoes. And, you know, what kind of objections do you get when people give you objections to closing and buying? What type of objections?
I mean, they're always the same. I left my wallet in the car. I don't like shoes. I don't clean shoes. I just buy new ones.
Right.
I have to ask my wife. I'll come back on payday.
Right.
You know, there's a bunch of them, you know, it just all depends on the day, really. But, you know, you kind of maneuver. You learn to once you get that for the first time, then you kind of just maneuver in your head.
So what's your comeback for? What's your comeback for? I don't clean my shoes. I just buy new ones. How do you overcome that objection?
It kind of just depends on the person. Because honestly, I'm not young anymore. I really don't. I'm not too good with rebuttals and stuff like that anymore. The only reason why is because I used to be really good with that and going back and forth and taking my time with each customer and doing stuff like that. But then I kind of realized, like, this is the mall. I don't really have to sit here and clientele with everyone like that, because they're gonna be back. You know, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, whatever. I kind of just have to get it out there. And then once they, you know, realize what the situation is, they'll be back. So honestly, I don't have to rebuttals. I wouldn't like to.
Right. Hey, you know what? And that's there's something to be said for that. And I agree with you. Again, there's a time to rebut objections, and there's a time you shouldn't, you know, rebut objections, and it just kind of depends on the objections, and again, the situation and the atmosphere. Now, for you, like you say, one of the things that, you know, as a business owner, when you want to do aggressive sales, and, you know, I'm as aggressive salesman as it gets, there's no doubt about it, but there's a time and a place to do objections, and there's a time and a place when you let the objection roll. Now, for you in the mall, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm, you know, the sales environment there is that a lot of these people are there often and you're going to see them again. So really, it's almost like you're using it as a pipeline. So it's like, okay, I've made the introduction. You know who I am now. You know, I'm friendly. You know, I'm approachable. Yeah, I'm not going to sell you this moment, but you're in my pipeline, meaning that the next time you're in the mall next Saturday or the next week or 2 weeks from now, whatever, you're going to remember me. I'm going to remember you. And now maybe at that point, they'd be willing to check out the product a little closer, maybe ask you some buying questions, maybe have you clean a shoe or something like that, right? Am I reading that right? Is that kind of like what your sales approach is?
Kind of, but not so much. So my success rate is like 70 to 80%. So really, honestly, I kind of,
so when you get them talking to you, you have like a 70 to 80% close ratio on those.
Correct.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a damn good close ratio for sure.
It's amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It's really, like, even today I only worked for 3-4 hours and I made 10 sales. You know, so like literally my close rate is amazing. But so what happens is, honestly, if I don't close you, I kind of see it as spilled milk. You know what I mean? Like I don't. You know, most people think you're going to come back. We have a line in Shoe Cleaner. The only people who ever came back is, the Houdini and the Terminator 2. Nobody comes back. So, you can't think people are going to come back or anything like that. I don't even use it like that or anything, but I kind of see it as, if I didn't close you, I did something wrong, and maybe I need to improve on the next person. I do music and I do a lot of different other, basketball and all this other stuff. So I kind of I'm really hard on myself when and stuff like that. So I feel like I didn't say the right thing. I didn't do the right thing. And, it's kind of like with a woman, if you don't say the right thing within the first 30 seconds, minute of meeting her, it's a wrap, you might as well.
Right. That's a great observation. And the point he's making is that, basically when you make your pitch, if it doesn't work, you can never blame the customer or the potential customer. You have to blame yourself. Because again, like he says, you have the responsibility on you to make sure that you say the right things, do the right things, that your sales pitch was right. If you start blaming them, if he didn't have the mentality he has, the reason why his close ratio is so strong and the reason why he does so well is because he has that belief that this is on me. It's up to me to make the sale. It's not up to them to be sold. And so he puts the whole responsibility on himself. Most people don't do it the other opposite, right? And that's one of the struggles I have with my people is that they always blame the customer. It was, oh, he didn't want this. He said this, he made, and they always externalize it. And then they put the blame for a sale not occurring on the customer. Well, you can't do that. If you do that, well, then you can be sold every time on every objection, every excuse, every stall. And yeah, your close ratio is going to not be 70%. I'll tell you that. Right. Yeah. So yeah, taking it on yourself.
You kind of have to tell yourself okay, what I said was wrong. When I do music, if I do a line or anything, I'll tell them, oh, that was trash, and then I'll start over. You know what I mean? I have to tell you. You have to tell yourself, some days, if you take a week off and you come in and to work, your sales pitch is going to be trash for maybe the first 2 customers, but you're going to, tell yourself, okay, that's what I did wrong. That's what I did wrong. Now the next customer, I'm closing this, and it's on you every single time, so that's kind of, like you said, it's the approach you have to take in order to be successful. I feel like
absolutely 100%.
Could be wrong.
Oh, you're not. You're absolutely not. You have to take that approach. You have to always. And again, whether somebody could logically say, well, that wouldn't really be in your control, you still have to assume control of it. Because if you don't, as a business owner, whatever you decide you're not going to control, you're going to let somebody else control it. Well, now you're screwed, because if anything is left to someone else to control for you that affects what you're doing, you're in a lot of trouble. You have to assume control over everything. It does not mean that you have to just, say, I'm going to do everything there is to be done. But what it means is you have to influence that to a certain degree, right? So for instance, like you don't own the mall, you don't manage the mall, but you still need to be able to influence that a little bit to where if you had an issue with your location, or if, maybe they had some construction going on at the end of the mall and you needed to move your location and go down to a busier area to where you can still make your sales. Like, you want to be able to say, look, I need to help control that, not just sit here at the dead end of the mall with no customers, just getting crushed out. Right?
I walk around the mall picking up trash all day long. Not because it's an outdoor mall. So the mall can't look trashy. You know what I mean? That's
a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You take control. So he doesn't manage the mall. He doesn't own the mall, but he's cleaning the mall because he recognizes that that's going to reflect upon his business. That if the mall's not clean, it looks trashy. Well, then his store looks trashy. His kiosk looks trashy. And again, you don't want that reflecting on your business. So again, that intuitiveness he has to say, look, I got to take control of all of the factors that are going in here and in the optics, which if you're running a retail business, especially optics are everything. They always are. The perception that the customer has of your business and your organization is key to whether or not they're going to feel comfortable enough to buy. So again, super smart, super smart. So, all right. So then let's talk about your business model. So so what's your goal? Your goal is 10 sales a day. Is that what you're looking to do? Is that your goal, or what's your goal?
10 sales on the weekdays. I go for like 20 on the weekends.
Okay. 10 to 20, and then busier on the weekends, go for 20. So weekly, you're looking to do what, 90 or 70, 80 sales a week?
That's about right. Yeah.
Okay. Now 70 sales a week. How much does your product sell for? What price point are we talking about?
It just depends on the day. Yeah, it just depends. It depends on the day. So today I was selling them for $100.
Okay.
So I would, but yesterday I was probably selling them for 40 and 50. But it's just, you know, if I come in feeling good, I'm gonna sell them for $100.
Right. Well, you know, if I was you, and again, that's one of the things that I really help people do is to kind of establish their price point. You know, bottom line is, so if you say, I'm going to make 70 sales a week, and let's just say the average would be 60, right? So some are going to be those hot days when it's busy and people are really wanting it, and the other days are going to be a little slower, and you feel like you got to maybe do some discounts to move some product, right? So we say the average sell is 60 times 70. Well, you're bringing in 4,200 a week at that point. Okay.
I can actually hold on, I'll tell you.
Sure.
I'll tell you exactly what my average sale is. 56.
56. I was right there. I said 60. So
yep,
I wasn't too far off, right? All right. So again, so then as far as a driver goes, just for you, I mean, again, because you're setting in a really good position, you know, solopreneurs, and I know you've had employees before, and that's always a double-edged sword, right? And sometimes they take more than they give you. But one of the things you could do to maximize yourself as far as what your sales are is just, you know that number, which is awesome that he knows that, because then he can say, okay, if I want to increase my revenue by 20%, well, now he just needs to increase that average price, that average ticket by 20%. So if we look at 56 and we say 20%, that's $11 more. So then he would want to make his average sale about $68, right? And that would give you a 20% increase in revenue, which, you know, being a solopreneur, most of that minus the cost of the product is going to be, you know, nice profit. So controlling that end of it really is where you could instantly give yourself a 20% raise. And then all you have to do is just say, look, maybe 100's my top, but let me stop making 40 my bottom. Let me start making 50 my bottom, or 60, you know what I'm saying? Like, to where that you would get that extra $11 per sale. And maybe you don't make as many sales on that particular day, but instead of, you know, 70 or 80, maybe you only make 65 sales. Maybe you know, a couple of sales don't get made over that $10, $11 difference. But just because of the 5 you lost, the other 70 being $11 more, you're still going to come out ahead. You know what I mean? And then your costs go down because then you didn't move as much product either. So your sales went up, your product costs went down, and then your profit obviously, you know, made a big impact. So that's one way to increase your money. The other way, when you, so these customers, are you relying just on foot traffic? Do you actually, you know, have people come see you, or do people just happen to find you there at the mall? Is there any like direct marketing that you're doing, or external marketing besides that?
There's none, actually. Yeah, I just rely on foot traffic, and then there's a lot of return customers since I've been there for 5 years. So I get a lot of returns. But yeah, I have to increase my marketing. I also have like access to Square Marketing, which has a lot of my customers on file and stuff like that. I just haven't, you know, I really not sure how to utilize it and what to do about it.
That's so powerful. We just put 20% increase on a store down in Tucson that's actually a chain store, and they've got that similar thing, and we put a 20% increase on their sales just by showing them how to penetrate their customer list better. So the thing to do with that is, when you know you're going to have, let's say, slow days, or if you know you're going to have a slow week, if there's something, you know, that's, you know, the fourth week of February is always slow, or the first week of March, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know more like your times of the month when it's slower versus other times, maybe the middle of the month is a little slower. Take that list and run specials, right? Maybe, and again, I'm not a huge believer in discounts. I don't like using discounts so much. What I like doing instead is like what's called a value add. So I don't know if you have things that you add with when you sell it. So if you're going to go for a higher price, or if you're, you know, want to push sales, then maybe you add a free brush, or you add like an extra spray, or a waterproofing agent, or, you know, something like that you could add to whatever your so, you know, your kit is there something that you could add that wouldn't cost you much money, but then people would say like, hey, that's really cool. He's going to add that for me. That makes me feel special. Is there something that you use for that? Or is that something that have you thought about?
There's a couple of things actually. We have like we do scent bomb and stuff like that too as well in my company. So I just really haven't, you know, I'm sure you've heard of them or seen them in the gas stations and stuff.
Yeah.
So they have it like for cars and everything. So that's also, we're a distributor for that too as well. So sometimes I do carry that at the kiosk, and it's really helpful as far as like people will stop and look at that, and then they might buy my product just because of that. But
there you go.
I just have been less pushing that. So that'd be actually, I could push that with that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, again, if that's not, you know, if that's something you can get kind of cheap, you know, if your cost is fairly cheap, well, then you could add that as a value add to the kits. And then you could run that special when you know you're going to be slow to your current customers and say, hey, you know, over this weekend or from this day to this day, anybody that comes in mentions this, you know, promotion is going to get a free, and then, you know, add that in there as part of the package, right? So they feel like they're getting this extra thing. Add the full retail value of it, whatever the retail value is supposed to be, right? Add that so they feel like, wow, I'm really getting like this $20 thing or this $15 thing for free, which will do two things. One, you can, again, increase that price point because of it. And then two, when you know you're going to be slow, you can drive that extra traffic to you where people are going to come to you to actually buy. So that's another way that you can get your sales up for that, you know, slower period. And you can also use it for even your busier periods. Even, you know, even if you're busy, just raise your price and say, hey, you know, if you buy right now, you know, I'm going to give you this free thing or these free two things. You could even try maybe even experimenting and just say, hey, look, I'm not going to sell a kit for less than $95. But let me see how many of these free extras I have to put in there to get that. You may find that if they only cost you like $5 or $3 and you're giving away two, but it's allowing you to go from a $70 price point to a $95 price point, well, then obviously you made up a lot more money, right? So value adds work great. I mean, they, you know, to drive sales and to get sales up and then to get the price point up, value adds are where it's at. That's why if you watch like infomercials on TV or whatever, they're always like, if you act now, you know, we're going to double your order, just pay separate shipping and handling. Well, that's because what it activates in the person's mind and the buyer's mind is, oh, I'm getting something for free. I can't pass that up. Right. And so that it just activates their buying impulse. And it works in retail great. And the sad thing about retail is a lot of people don't do it. A lot of them don't do value adds. Right. Direct marketing does, internet things do, you know, internet, if you buy something like through a sales funnel on the internet, you'll see that you get upsold. You get like, normally this is, you know, this much price, but order now and get it for, you know, 50% off, or buy one now, get one free. You see that a lot on the internet when you go through a sales funnel or on TV, right? But you don't see it in retail. And I really think the retail people miss that boat because it's huge. I mean, it can really, really drive sales. It's a key driver. So there's a couple of things right there that I see just from what you're doing. I think you could add like 30% more, 30% more profit to your overall number, man, and really make a lot of money. And I know you already do well, but there's always, you know, more is always more.
No, that's honestly, that's pretty, I like those ideas. Those are pretty good ideas, honestly.
Nice. Now on your Instagram, I see you got a pretty good Instagram going. You have 1,000 followers, which is, you know, for a store-ish, you know, or a retail type page is pretty good. One of the things I like to see, man, because you have a dynamic personality, that's obvious, right? He's got the gift for gab. So you need to put you on there a little bit more, you know what I mean? And just demo stuff and talk about it. I mean, you can even post, hey, I'm down at the kiosk today. I'm running, you know, a special, you know, we're going to do, you know, buy one of the kits, get this, you know, add on for free, only for the next, you know, 10 customers, 20 customers, whatever. You could do that with Instagram. Some of the things that you could do, I mean, the marketing that you could do on the Instagram. I mean, I'm going to end up going off forever here, but the marketing that you could do with this Instagram, especially for you, like where you're at, your location, since you're location centric and you have this one kiosk, you could even run small promo ads through your Instagram that would allow you to target people in your radius right around the mall, right? Let's say within 5 miles of the mall, 3 miles of the mall. And then they would be the only ones that would see your promotion on pop up on their news feeds or pop up on their stories. And hey, next 24 hours running this special, come on down to the mall. And you could drive your own traffic in addition to the people that are coming, that obviously you're grabbing that are walking by on mall traffic. You could also be driving some extra traffic directly to you for this kind of stuff, right? And that's another thing too, to get product recognition, because as you would also be advertising to that small audience. And I'm talking like spending like $100 a month. I mean, super small budget, but even for $100 a month, if you did it right, everybody in that area would know who you are. And so when they go to the mall, they're like, hey, I'm going to go buy, I'm going to get some of that shoe cleaner stuff, because they would know who you are. They would have saw you on their Instagram. They would have saw you on the feed. When you have like a local store and you can just advertise in a local little trade area, it's super cheap. And it's amazing, like the penetration you could get. Because there might be like, say, for instance, there might be, we'll say 40,000 people that live within 5 miles of that mall, right? Yep. Where that's going to be their mall. Well, you could get in front of those 30,000 people on Instagram for like $100. You could, every one of those people could see you that have Instagram, right? So that's powerful. And then basically they're coming to the mall for you, right? They walk in the front door of the mall and they're like, yeah, I'm here to see Abdul. I'm not here to go to the stores, right? So yeah, you could get that going too, just to where that would add that extra traffic to you, right? Because you're telling me that you have the capability to be able to do anywhere between 10 to 20 sales a day. Why not do 20 every day? Why not do 20 on your slow days and 25 on your busy days, or 30 on your busy days? Why not increase the price by 10%? Right? Why not use value adds to increase the price by another 10%? So when you put all those factors together, increased traffic, increased price, value add promos, product recognition, brand, and more specifically brand recognition, because it's you're selling you, right? The reason why you have these repeat customers is because they love you. Like, yeah, the shoe cleaner works great, I'm sure it does, but they want to come to see you. Like that's obvious, right? You're their guy. You're their guy that hooks them up with the good shoe cleaner. That's who they're coming back to. Retail people, you got to realize you're selling you as much as anything else. You're not just selling your product, you're selling you. So you have to make the experience something special for your customers so that they want to come back. If I had a restaurant, and it is some of the things I teach restaurant owners, you need to go visit the table, ask people how they're doing, ask them how their meal was, ask them if there's anything that you could improve or do better. Those people, when you do something like that and touch them, next time they think about eating sushi or a steak or whatever your restaurant is, they're only coming to you. You're now their sushi guy. You're now their steak guy. They would never think about going anywhere else. That's what happens when you add that extra you personality to the experience of it, right? We're always buying experiences. We're not buying products and services. We're buying experiences. And when you're a small business owner like Abdul is, you can add that extra experience. I know he already does naturally because he's a people person. But when you intentionally in your mind add that to your good or your service, man, it drives the sales, and the customer loyalty just goes through the roof. So yeah, I think, man, with what you're working with here, I think just a couple of these tricks that we can add in, or I don't call them tricks, I use the word tricks, strategies that we can use, man, I think you could really get your sales even up, even as good as it's going now. I think you could really explode your sales and really, really do it.
I'm going to try a bunch of them, honestly.
Awesome. And I want you back because I want to see how they work, and I want to see what your experience with it was and everything else like that. Because this will not only help you, but obviously we're filming this. This is going to go out to a lot of young entrepreneurs. Man, this guy should inspire you guys. He inspires me. So it's been awesome to have you on the show, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man. This is awesome strategies.
Awesome. I love it. Again, I could go on, Amelia knows it better than anybody else. You get me talking business, I'll go all freaking day long. Yeah, you can't stop me. It's what I love to do. So I love to help people, and I love to help business owners. So that's awesome. Now let us know, let the audience know where they can find you. What mall are you in? Where are you at the mall? What's your Instagram handle? How can everybody out there find you?
You can find me at the Phoenix Premium Outlets It's 4976 Premium Outlets Way in Chandler, Arizona. Also, my Instagram is PHX Quick Care. And you can also find it on my website too. It's youngprincey.com, YUNG Prince with the Y at the end.com. And you can pick up the shoe cleaner there too as well. But come check us out tomorrow over there, where I'm there all day.
Beautiful, beautiful. Go see him. You're not going to regret it. You can see how dynamic he is. It's awesome. And he's going to hook you up with some great shoe cleaner and some extras. Just tell him that you saw it on the Cory Meets Business show, and he'll give
you a good deal.
He'll give you a little extra, service.
We want you.
So that's right. That's right. Awesome. Well, all right, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I'm going to follow up with you. Amelia will be in touch, and we'll have you back soon, and we'll talk some more strategies. And hey, next time I'm in Phoenix, I'm going to come see you. That's for sure.
That's good to see you, man. Thank
you
for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Hey, if you like this, please like, subscribe, follow him, follow me, share this wherever you can. Obviously, the more we can help young business owners like him and you, the better off everybody is. So please, again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you haven't shared it, please share it. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you on the next one.